Hey you guys, welcome back to part 4 of me making this small and colourful junk journal. So this is going to be the final part in the series. I'm going to finish everything up in this video. So I was just showing you there that I have actually already pre-done the holes in the spine just to sew the signatures in. This is just a basic 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Absolutely nothing complicated about it. You guys will know how to do it, so that's why I didn't sort of show that process. I made a little paper sort of template you can see up there in the right hand corner. So I've got this lovely sort of a yellowy gold thread. I believe it's vintage. Well, it's on a vintage spool, and yeah, I think it is, and it's lovely and strong. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sewing the first signature into the spine here. I think I was struggling to get the needle through a little bit there. It's a little bit tough. That spine, the chipboard I used, is actually really thick, so it's a little bit tricky to pull the needle through, but it's lovely and strong for the actual book. So yeah, pretty basic, just sewing this one, going through the middle, up the top, down the bottom, and back through. You can do that in any sort of order that you want. I find the first signature always easy enough to sew in. It's whenever I do more than one signature that I have trouble sewing the subsequent ones in. I always find it really, really fiddly, especially here because I wasn't as close. Normally I'm holding these things quite close to my face, but because I was filming, it was a little bit further away and I was trying to keep it in shot as best as I could, so I kind of had to go a bit slow here, so I would normally do it a little bit quicker, but yeah, it was a little bit slower just so I could make sure that I was doing everything properly from a bit of a distance, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I hope you guys are all doing really well. Happy Monday to you all. Today is a public holiday here. Nothing is open, so it's kind of just a quiet one at our home, although it's also busy. Been out in the garden and things like that as well today, so it's the afternoon now, and I thought I would get this voiceover done and head out a little bit later. I still want to go to the conservation park and see the kangaroos, so I plan to do that in a couple of hours. At dusk, they're usually out and about at dawn and dusk, so I will head over there probably about 5 p.m. I'm thinking. So there's the first signature that's been sewn in, and I think I already took the binder clips out, so I've got that all sort of held together. As soon as I've pulled the thread through, I usually just get rid of the binder clips straight away. So this is the second signature that I'm doing here, and this one I find a little bit more fiddly, so please bear with me as you watch me struggle a little bit here and there. And then actually, after I had done it off camera, I decided that the signature was a little bit too loose, and I went ahead and pulled it out and redid it again, just so that I knew it was in there nice and tight and wasn't sort of going to move about at all. So yeah, this is the second signature, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a bunch of ephemera from around my room and bring that out, and then I'm going to go through it and place it all through the book. And honestly, that is my favourite part of a junk journal. I love just placing pieces of ephemera in the actual junk journal. Sewing the signatures in is my least favourite part. So I would actually love to hear from you guys what your favourite part of making a junk journal is. Whether it's doing, the base pages or the decorating and that kind of thing. For me, it's definitely making things like the collage cards and adding the pieces of ephemera in. So the other thing I was contemplating with doing when I was prior to me sewing this in, was I was thinking about adding some buttons to the spine. I think I had mentioned this in a previous video. In the end, I decided not to. Sometimes I feel buttons can sort of make it a little bit tricky for working in a journal. I can sort of just feel them on the edge of the spine, so just my own preference, I didn't do it. And the other thing is too, I thought that the fabric tabs were quite colourful enough, so I didn't think it really needed some colourful buttons on the spine as well. I think it's it looked nice enough sort of as it was, so I decided to leave those off. So here I am, I have done the second signature, which I then subsequently end up taking out off camera and redoing. So anyway, for you guys, it looks like I've done it here. So, and apologies if you guys can hear a lot of rattling around and noises in the background. My husband is cooking kind of like a late lunch. So yeah, he's busy in the kitchen and things like that. So, and then my son, he's playing on our Vive, which is like a virtual gaming thing. So it's like he's like flying a spaceship or something, so he's giggling away in that, so apologies if you hear that in the background. So that's all done now, and here we are on to the next part. And I had been into my craft room and gathered up a lot of stuff to pop in this journal, and to be honest, I could have kept going, you guys, but I thought originally when I pulled all this stuff out I wouldn't use it all, and I ended up using pretty much everything. But it got so chunky in the end after this. Even though I wanted to keep adding, I wanted to go back to my craft room and grab more stuff and add it in, but I had to really stop because it was just too big. But you know, whoever ends up getting this journal, you can just completely take all this ephemera out and use it in other projects and things like that, and it does shrink the journal down quite a bit and make it quite usable to work in. It's just once it's sort of chunky like this, I find it's quite hard to turn the pages. Like, you wouldn't really want to, I don't think personally, you wouldn't really want to work in it with all this stuff in it to begin with. You take it out and then you put your own spin on it, put your own ephemera in, and then use all these little bits and pieces that I've added in as decoration or in other projects if you like. So yeah, there's lots of little bits and pieces. I've got that beautiful piece right there is from such an old children's book called Little Folks, and it's from, like, I think it's from the early 1900s, very early, 1907 or something like that. I've also added in pieces of blank paper, like I said I would, just for anybody who receives this can just cover up areas that they want to for journaling space. I've got, yeah, just lots of little bits and pieces. That lovely pocket there, that's been made up. There's like a vintage drink label. There's these little tiny children's pieces, and I don't really know what to call them, but I found them at an antique shop. I don't know what they once were, but they were really cheap at the antique shop, so I decided to pick them up, and I've just sort of cut little pieces out from it and have included a few in there. And there's some of my handmade paper as well, my lovely mint green handmade paper that I've embossed with a lovely flower design. That there is a piece from the Little Folks as well. It says Queen Alexandra, what does it say? And the Duke, maybe they're coming for a visit or something, I don't know. So that's in there, and then just, yeah, so many little bits and pieces you can see all around. There are cards and lots of pieces of vintage ephemera. I've made some tags. I've made some little tiny pockets out of the same paper that was used. There is, oh, there's the stamp ephemera pieces that I made up on camera. I put those in as well. That lovely piece of ephemera there is from 1950. I think that's sort of inviting somebody to a party, a birthday party or something. What else is there? There's so many bits and pieces. A flash card, there's journaling cards, there's my collage cards, this little bridge scorers, a little lottery sort of vintage piece at the top there. I put in a couple of the little cut apart labels as well. So yeah, I think I slowed this bit down, like I didn't speed it up as much as I normally would have, just so you guys could see more in detail of the things that I'm putting into the book, because later on when I do a flip through I don't pull everything out because I figured you guys have seen it all going in the first place. So that's kind of why I've slowed it down, so you can see a little bit better. I had that really cool aerogram, New Zealand aerogram, but it was a little bit too big to put in the journal, so I didn't end up including that one. So yeah, here's some journaling collage cards going in as well. I just sort of go through here and there, putting bits and pieces in where I feel like they fit nicely. So I think I'm pretty much just over halfway done filling up this journal with all the pieces of ephemera. I just keep going back and forth as you saw. I've got that lovely piece there as a school ledger from the early 1900s. I think I picked up about 4 of the little books and I maybe have 1 left. I picked it up from a really quirky store actually. It was a mix between a cafe and sort of a retro. It had a really retro vibe to it. So it had a cafe in it. It sold sort of antique and retro items. And I found them sort of stashed away in a little box in the back corner. So yeah, it was so I think they were only like maybe $5 each or something like that, which I thought personally was a really good deal for, you know, a very early 1900s school ledger. So really interesting. And it's kind of sad now that I'm down to the last book, but yeah, they've lasted quite a long time. So what else can I tell you about this journal? It's actually, I mean, I called it a small junk journal, but it's really not. It's not big, but it's not small. So it would fit, you know, 6x4 photos in it just fine. It's probably about, I think I measured it at the very beginning in inches. It's 6.5 inches tall, and wide it's just under 5.5. So yeah, you'd definitely fit a full 6x4 photograph in this journal. So I actually think it's a decent size. I like journals that are not too big and not too small at the same time. So yeah, I'm still clipping in a few bits and pieces, and apologies if you can hear the hose running outside. I have a family member who has pulled, we have like, what do you call those? It's like a soaker kind of a hose. They've pulled it out because our grass is pretty much almost dying off because there has not been a lot of rain once again. So yeah, we're trying to make the grass grow again, I guess. But actually they did forecast for us to have a lot of rain this season, so you know, we get to see it, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get that. They called it La Nina, I think. So yeah, more rain, more cyclones are forecast. So yeah, what else can I chat to you guys about? Oh, actually, after I had finished doing the voiceovers last night, I came out and it was nearly 9 p.m. at night, and I heard this squeal from my son actually, and he was outside. And a spider ran, like a really big spider, ran across his foot and ran into our house because he had the door open. And when I went up and had a look at it, because, you know, spiders are not uncommon here in Australia at all, when I went up and had a look at it, it was not a huntsman. Huntsmans are just harmless, you know, they're pretty good spiders to have around too. This was a wolf spider, if you guys had heard of a wolf spider. So it had a different, like a yellow, like different marking on its back, and I recognized the fact that it was not huntsman. And I had recently seen a photo of a wolf spider, and I thought, oh, wonder if that's what it is. So I looked it up, and sure enough it was, and they are poisonous. They're not lethal, but they are poisonous, so I definitely didn't want my cats or anything getting their little paws into him. So yeah, unfortunately we had to remove him. We couldn't have him hanging around the house. And if you guys saw on my Instagram stories, you would have seen a video of him. So he was underneath my dining table where my like sewing pedal was, where I'd been working on this book. So yeah, that wasn't fun. I'm not a fan of spiders, don't like them, I have to say. I try my hardest to always release when I can. I do not like to kill anything if I can help it, but when there's something poisonous, yeah, I'm sorry, it's gotta go. So it did. So yeah, here I'm just finishing up with the last few pieces, and I'm going to share with you a flip through of this journal. But I will leave you guys here, and I really hope that you've enjoyed watching the series. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I really appreciate it, and I love reading your comments. I appreciate every single one of you for being one of my subscribers. And yeah, take care, you guys. I will chat to you in my next video. Bye, guys.
Watched the world from the place beneath the willow.